Hi, my name is Stella, and this is So You Schooled in OAU. Good afternoon, sir. This is Stella from So You Schooled in OAU, and it's lovely having you here.
Hi, Stella. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you so much. Please, can you tell us your name, what you do now, and from what year to what year you were in OAU?
My name is Bisi Makanjuola. I'm a lawyer. I'm a partner in the law firm of Olaniwun Ajayi. I'm the immediate past chair of the Nigerian Bar Association Lagos branch. And I had the privilege of attending Obafemi Awolowo University between 1999 and 2005.
1999 and 2005.
As a matter of fact, our matric number read 98, and there's history which I can speak to. Our matric number reads 98 or read 98, but we didn't begin lectures until sometime in 99 on account of OAU.
OAU?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so you say you are the immediate past chairman
yes,
of the MBA Lagos branch.
Yes.
So that means you have interest in politics.
Yes, I mean, I love to serve people, and I've been serving right from my days in OAU, so it's not a coincidence.
Okay.
So, and I still hope to do more in the future for my state and possibly, hopefully, for Nigeria.
Hopefully, sir. Okay, can you tell us more about your politicking days in OAU?
So when we're in year 2, either year 2 or year 1, the Faculty of Law introduced the Law Students Representative Council.
Okay, LSRC.
I don't remember whether year 1 or 2, and I am privileged to be part of the inaugural members of the LSRC. I must have been that year 1 or year 2. I don't remember what year it was, but the inaugural LSRC, I'm happy to say that I was a member.
Wow.
And I believe we were either 3 in my class. So each class had representatives.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I ended up in year 4 to year 5 being the secretary of the Law Student Society.
Wow.
I was a jack of all trade. I was also in Justice Chambers.
I was in Justice Chambers too.
Oh, great. I rose to become the director of research in Justice Chambers. I was in JCI. I became the Secretary General of the Junior Chamber International OAU LOM. Yes, that was called then. Mm-hmm. But to be honest, law took most of this university politicking, things away from me. Yeah.
Okay, so that's why you went to the politics in law, the MBA. So how was being MBA chairman for you?
It was stressful, but ultimately it was refreshing. It was fulfilling because at the point I was running, I was campaigning, many people said I was not a barman. So I'm happy that I left and I corrected all doubts that you don't need. Who is a barman to the extent that we all pay our dues for all barmen and women? So I came with a fresh idea, fresh perspectives. And I'm proud to say that as the chair of the bar in Lagos, we elevated standards and we were known nationwide. I remember my first visit to the national headquarters in Abuja, and the main mention of my name, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's you," and I felt like, "Wow, what have I just achieved?" So yes, it was, and I like the fact that we're able to touch many lives, be it in the area of human rights, whether socially. I'm proud to say that for the first time, not even the national bar could achieve this. We seconded a lawyer to the UK. For 3 months, fully paid secondment to United Kingdom, where a lawyer just went to United Kingdom and was able to see how law is practiced by the UK law firms. Our administration did that. We had a partnership with Uber, where every lawyer who was commuting in Lagos had a discount by virtue of him being a member of the Nigerian Bar Association Lagos branch. We had that Uber partnership for the first time in the history of the Nigerian Bar Association Lagos branch, and perhaps any other branch in Nigeria. We had a free dinner where nobody paid a dime to attend the bar dinner. We left with humongous monies in fixed deposit accounts. We left with a brand new, bus, fully air conditioned bus. For many people who know Lagos branch, We probably did not have a functional boss, but we left office with a functional boss. So, those are just a few of the things that we achieved, and many, 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 many more things we achieved. So I'm proud of what we did. That it was just not me; it was myself and my fantastic school members that worked with me. So whether it was in the area of welfare, social, human rights, we were competing against ourselves, and we did very, very well.
That's very lovely to hear, sir. That's lovely. Wow. Okay, so you've been a politician. Our questions are tilting so much towards
I don't consider myself as a politician. I consider myself as a public servant.
public servant. Do you think politicians in Nigeria, generally, not even professional based bodies, but generally, do you think when they make policies or when they do good, for in quote, they do it based on trial and error? I'm doing good, I'm doing good. Or do you think they think about the effect of the people that are receiving this good? Because, for example, as a youth alumni, I recently heard about a bus system, electric buses, which means good for the climate, donated for OAU students, and it was supposed to be you collect a ticket and you go and take the bus. But only 50 buses, and we know that campus takes about 20,000 people at any time. Even during holidays, there's at least 10,000 people left on that campus. Now, the buses are not that functional. For some reason, you go, you see them packed. It has also affected the economy of the town because there were people who were the bus drivers before and they still have these their buses. So the bus drivers are angry at the students are angry at the management because the buses are not that were promised them are not as functional. And at the end of the day, it comes into a wider circle affecting the small society but having rippling effect. Now we've seen students going on a short strike, a short break. So do you think when politicians do good or when they make policies for society, they think about the broader effect, or it's just trial and error, particularly in Nigeria?
It's a very, very tricky question. But I think the honest answer is that most often politicians don't think of the long term effect of what you're doing. And this is a clarion call to anybody who wants to serve. It's not about personal praises, but as a leader, the things that you do should help to alleviate the lives of the people that you're supposed to govern or rule, as the case may be. But you'll find that most often times in Nigeria, in particular, when doing trial and error, you just want to do certain things without thinking of the repercussions. So, for instance, how has donating buses to a school turned out to ultimately then negatively impact the town, the students themselves, even those people who ought to benefit from these donations. So, and that's why, as a leader or as management, one needs to have a listening ear and one needs to, I'm trying to choose my words carefully now, but as management, really, you need to be able to balance the divide over time. When you point one finger at somebody for and pointing back towards you. So, you need to think through and think deeply about policies you're implementing, the effect of those policies. OAU is notoriously known, to have people who stand for their rights.
Yes, that's very true.
I was in school for more than 6 years for a 5-year course. I never had one carry over. Half of the time we were fighting for our rights and school would be shut for one thing or the other. I said to you that my matric number reads 98, but they use much 99 because there was that famous OAU fracas happened when we're resuming. So those are kind of things that leaders need to think about. Think about the long-term effect of what you're doing. One good deed may ultimately ruin a community. And as leaders, you just need to be brave and and be scientific. And you need to just put your thinking cap and make sure that what you're doing will ultimately affect the good of the majority of the people. And I think that's what true leadership is all about.
Thank you very much, sir. So, talking about leadership, you mentioned you're a partner at a tier one firm in Africa. So, what is that like on a daily basis?
It's a lot of responsibility because, in addition to doing the work, you need to find the work.
Okay.
So, Probably an associate may not bother him or herself with looking for work. Yours is that you do your work and you get paid at the end of the month. But for a partner, there's the added responsibility of finding the work, and even making sure that the client pays for the work. So it's not easy. I respect every partner in every law firm, in every business, because they are doing a lot, to keep the business thriving, and also to keep themselves going. It's not easy because you're juggling so many balls. So shout out to everybody, whether you are in a top tier, low tier, big tier, tier one, tier two, small, big, wherever you find yourself. Shout out to you if you belong to those category of those that win and do the work.
Thank you very much, sir. So when you were leaving OAU in 2006,
2005. We left. We were rushed to finish because we had to go to law school by September, I believe, and we finished exams by July. So we finished 05 and June law school September of that year and graduated next year. I was called to by November of 2006.
Wow. 20 years this November.
Yeah, so 20 years. I remember I was called to on the first day, November 7th, 2006. So 20 years, November 7th this year.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
So when you were graduating that November 7th, did you ever think you'll be here today? Was this your plan? Was this your goal from the onset?
To be honest, I had no goal, I had no plans. I was telling some undergraduates, I spoke at a webinar some days ago, and I said to them that when I was in uni, all I wanted to do was to be successful. But I didn't know how to be successful. I just knew that Bisi Makanjuola, you are going to make it in this business.
Wow.
But looking back, I thank God, been the grace of God. But it's not been easy. There's been many ups and downs, but we keep on, pulling our weight here and there and making sure that we'll do the best at. So I never thought that I would be in active litigation practice. As a matter of fact, I never even, as at uni days, I probably thought I was going to end up as a company secretary. I never did any moots or debating, I never took part in any moots competitions. I never did. If I said to myself that if person was going to wear the wig, it wasn't important.
Wow.
Okay. But I had friends who were doing it. I would watch them, we'd go to law lecture theatre. Then we had no moots venue. So we're always using the law lecture theatre in the basement.
Yeah.
So I would always go down and watch them, but I never took part. I was invited on 1 or 2 occasions, but I never took part in any of such.
Okay. Wow.
The rest is history today, as I said.
So you always knew you were going to do law, but you didn't know you were going to do litigation. It was
absolutely.
Wow. So how did you pivot into litigation? Why litigation?
But by accident.
Wow. Okay.
I served with Mr. Kupalati, and during my service here, there was a case that the firm was handling. My dad just said I should do the case. I found myself, as a youth corps member, doing an election petition matter. I made good friends. Some of the senior advocates I made as friends. I met as friends. That tribunal, we're still friends today. Okay. I met Kevin Pineres in the tribunal. My Lord Justice, someone of Supreme Court, was the chairman of our tribunal then.
Okay.
So Yetibo is saying, I believe Mr. Kunle Kaleja was one of those who was appearing. As a matter of fact, yes, there was a Chief Otayemi who was PDP lawyer then. So many friends I made then, and so that was my foray, and I got into that, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was adversarial, and I picked up my interest. Thereafter, we had a criminal matter in the magistrate's courts, and then my boss again allowed me to do it. So I liked it, and so when I came into Olaniwun Ajayi, it was easy for me because, and I must say that when I got into Olaniwun Ajayi, I didn't start off in litigation. I started out in the banking and finance practice group.
Wow.
Yes. And I just found my way
back into litigation.
And the rest is history.
The rest is truly history. Thank you so much, sir. Okay. So where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years' time?
First, by the grace of God, I should be a senior advocate by the grace of God.
By the grace of God.
I see myself in public service.
Really?
I see myself in public service.
Wow.
I'll keep it to my chest, but I see myself in public service.
Okay, okay. We hope to see you there. God keeping us alive.
Amen.
So presently, do you feel fulfilled? Personally, I believe everybody has a purpose in life, but sometimes we find it out late. Sometimes you know it from beginning that this is what I was meant to achieve. But as you said, you left school without goals. Doesn't mean you didn't have direction in life. So presently, as you are, do you feel fulfilled where you are?
No, I think there's still a lot more. I thank God for where I am today. But I think that there's still a lot more that one can achieve. The sky, they say, is the limits. So there are many of my colleagues who probably have achieved much more than I may have achieved today. There are so many of my colleagues who may be looking up to me. So that's life for you.
Yeah.
You need to benchmark yourself, and I still think that there's a lot more that I can achieve. And by His grace, we continue, doing what we're doing, continue to improve on oneself, continue to network, and above all, pray for the grace of God to be in the right places where decisions have been taken.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we need in life. You need the grace of God, because you may do all the good things of this life, but if you're not in the right place, nothing may come your way.
That's
Or
true.
people speaking for you. Now, I have friends who told me about references that they got, and today they're all in big offices today. It's on account of the work they have done, and people who spoke for them. So wherever I find myself, I try to, leave my own footprints, such that even if I was not there, somebody could say, "Oh, this is Bisi Makanjuola. This is what he can do. This is what he has done before."
Yeah.
And I think it applies to everybody. So wherever you find yourself, it's not about that present state of mind, but it's about the future and what you hope to or can achieve in the future.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. So what would you say are your guiding principles as a lawyer and as a human being in Nigeria?
So first is as a human being, and I think it's being doing good. You know that popular saying that you do unto others what you want others to want to you. So I think that's my driving principle. First, you do good. Do good. Whatever it is that can be said about you in your absence, if it can be said about you in your presence, then you probably are not who you are. You're not probably a psychopath, or you're just not a good person.
Thank you.
Yes, or you're not who you think you are. So for me, that's my first driving principle: to do good. And as a lawyer, I really just have to test for knowledge and build networks. So
Build network.
and test for knowledge. Don't forget what I said about being in the right place at the right time, or having people speak for you, or such that even when you're not in the room, people are making your case for you.
True.
And it's based on your principles, your goals, and who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what determines who can speak up for you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Going back to OAU days.
Yeah.
So now when you enter a room and people are talking, "Oh, I'm from this school, I'm from this school." When you say, "Oh, I came from OAU," is it just "I came from OAU"? Nothing? Or do you feel a sense of pride?
Of course, the thing of pride. Everywhere we go, I mean, the OAU anthem is not this now. I mean, the OAU anthem itself. I mean, many weddings that we've gone to, and next thing is we're singing OAU anthem at weddings, at events. So the thing of pride. I mean, OAU. I thank God that I went to OAU. To be honest, it's one phase of my life that I can always relive and relive again, because OAU it's helped me to become who I may be today. But I have one problem. I've not gone back in a while, and I think I should go back to OAU. So this is me promising to go back to OAU sooner rather than later.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So since you said it's something you relive from time to time, can you tell us some very memorable time you had in OAU?
Our boys.
You were an Awo boy?
I lived in Awo for most of my life. I lived in Awo. I never lived in Angola.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I was one of those. So I went to King's College in Lagos.
Okay.
And as a case, but I can't live in Angola there. Well, of course, I had some of this. But I mean, I always read in Awoka.
Okay, and that's asking
No.
Father Solo.
Bad was so bad boys were too
Cool.
Too cool. Yeah. So you need that madness in you. So not that I was an owl boy, but I mean, I always would believe those days in our was it the days where we go to study in the law lecture and in law faculty? You know, I remember law 209, 201.
Okay, yes.
The first on your right when you come in through the back staircase, that's law 201. 209.
The biggest is 209.
That's 20, yes, law 209. Law 209. You know, law 209. And I think it was when was it when we were in year one or year two that they introduced wearing white and black?
Okay.
Yes.
So you were wearing
We're,
what color?
we're one of the last sets that didn't wear white and black.
Wow.
Yes. But we were in year one or year two when white and black was introduced for all the students.
Across the country.
Yes. So I remember that we were one of the first sets. Start wearing white and black.
So you used to wear yellow blue to
You can wear anything, yes.
Oh,
wear
wow.
anything. When whether you're one or two, I can't remember. If many of my colleagues, Rose, Toye, Tayo, Yinka, Francis, Taimo, forgive me, Ayo is she's vice dean now, we're classmates. Former wife of former governor of Kogi State, Amina, current chair of Ikorodu branch.
Wow.
Forgive me now, I've forgotten your name. I'm sorry. So I mean, so we were the last set to wear mufti before white and black. So I remember very well.
Mm-hmm.
I remember exam days. Many things. I remember matric day. I remember those raves that they did at amphitheater. I remember Jingo.
Yeah.
I remember Professor Pashino. I remember Dr. Kukwala then. Yes. So Baba Jalaye.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, did that? Were you opportunity to talk about him?
No.
Okay, so me start.
Yeah.
Baba Jalaye, Dr. Akintola, Nai George, Dr. Law, Mr. Kuteri, Nai George, I believe in Ekiti State.
Yes, that was my class.
Yes, Dr. Lecturer Chikokun, Mr. Odunsi, Mr. Olowu, Mr. Fatula then.
I think it's now then.
There are so many memories, but the memories that would last longest in my mind were those our boys. Our boys.
The night, the celebration.
One thing. Our boys were always. I was not in Kegates. I was not in Alpha Club or any of those other clubs. I was only in JC, Justice Chambers.
Rotary.
No, I didn't do those ones. But one regret that I have in AU, when I was in King's College, I played cricket for Lagos State.
Oh.
Yes. Matter of fact, my school then, I believe, represented Lagos State in the competition. I can't remember which one, 1996, 97. When I got to AU, I was afraid because, then we're told that first class was for the lecturers and 2-1 was for God. Right? So the best you could get to be a 2-2. So I focused, and I abandoned all my sporting, talents. So yeah, I wish I played cricket and would continue perhaps because one of the boys that we played with ended up playing for Nigeria.
Wow.
So perhaps if I had continued, I may have had the opportunity to play for Nigeria, perhaps not. That was one regret. But other than that, I think everything was, of course, the strikes.
Did you participate in protests?
I didn't, but of course, imagine you being in class and you come and chase everybody out.
Yeah.
So
you do all those write-ups that they will press and blame society.
No, I did a write-up in Punch.
Okay.
When school was shut down for a year.
Oh.
I did a write-up in Punch then. Where I've been at home for one whole year, one calendar year on account of ASU strike.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you. But we thank God for where we are today. But I love those memories.
Yeah. And you think those memories and OAU and all that, they had like a FT and in shaping who you are today?
Definitely.
And where you are today?
Definitely.
And your mindset about everything?
Definitely.
Wow.
most of the friends I keep today are colleagues I'm meeting,
Wow.
whether from law, from Aki, from other departments, accounting,
Social science,
So
faculty,
yeah,
admin,
I
yeah.
mean, law was everybody needs to go to law to study to practice. Yeah, so good memories.
So you said you've not been back in a while, but there's this thing in faculty where they admit too many students. So our set for law school,
Quota.
our quota, thank you very much, is 250. But my class we were 360 something. The set before me was 419. And because of that, people are delayed in going to law. You want to study law and you're spending 7 years in school and waiting another 2 years at all. You do NYC, you start working after. Do you think it is because of Nigeria as a whole or the university system, public federal university system, or do you think it's the faculty?
I think everybody has a play, one way or the other. To start with, there are so many law faculties. Right? So, I mean, why would the University of Science and Technology be teaching law? To start with.
Yeah.
There are so many law faculties. So we need to first, and I think that in practice today, there's a debate as to whether Nigeria is over lawyered. I don't think Nigeria is over lawyered vis-a-vis our population.
Okay.
But my problem really is that where is the job for the lawyers? So that the job market is not unduly saturated anymore, some of us have been advocating for a freeze in admission of people to the law school,
Wow.
or perhaps make law a second degree so that things can balance out because law school churns out minimum of 5,000 students every year. Where is the work for them? Where's the work for them?
The competition is something.
And then there's AI, right, that has come into the system. So an AI will do things faster for you. So AI is already, people are competing with AI. Fresh graduates are competing with AI as it is.
Yeah.
Because why would I invest in 10 lawyers when I can invest in one AI tool or two AI tools to make my life easy? So the implication of that will be depriving the young lawyer of job opportunity.
Okay.
So for me, those are the kind of things we need to look at. Yeah, it's not one person's fault. All of us as people in the system, we need to sit down and recalibrate and ask ourselves, what can we do to make law profession more attractive? What can we do to make sure that when a fresh graduate comes out, there's a job for him on, and that the job is what the kind of job that can take him or her home.
Yeah.
There are many people who are in the interlands. How did they survive as lawyers?
Exactly.
All that they know is conveyancing, but there's lots more to conveyance. So for me, those are kind of things we need to begin to look at to make law profession much more attractive for people.
Okay. So, I was going to ask you more questions, but our time is fast spent. So, my final question. Oh, it's two final questions. Can you give a shout out to your classmates or your setmates or your time mates from OAU that maybe you just remembered them a couple of years ago and was like, where is that person now? Or maybe you keep in touch. Can we?
Well, this is shout out to all of us that came into OAU Law 1998 sets.
Law 98.
Shout out to all Law 1998 sets. To my matric number was Law 98158. And my surname is Makanjuola. So which means that at M we are 158. I believe that in my class we must have been about 258.
Wow.
Or thereabouts.
Wow.
Yes. So shout out to all the 98 students.
Okay.
And to those of our colleagues who have passed away, may God Almighty grant everything and rest. And to those of us who are still, on the surface of this earth, I pray that God gives us the strength to be able to continue to put together in Nigeria, and all that we want will be a reality. And to those who are still in school, fold your sleeves up and do the best that you can. The job market is waiting for you outside. AI is waiting to compete with you. So, make the best of it.
Thank you very much, sir. And down to our final question.
Yes.
Would you let your child attend OAU, and why or why not?
I think the answer is no.
Okay.
The answer is no, because I'd like them to be present.
So
that's the only reason.
That's the only reason.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Shout out to all Law 98 graduates. This is Bisi Makanjuola here, and it's a pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir, for being here. It's been lovely having you on the podcast.
Yes, my name is Olabisi Makanjuola, and I schooled in Obafemi Awolowo University, Oba University, between 1998 and 2005.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a pleasant day.
Thank you so much.
And that is all for today on So You Schooled in OAU. See you next Thursday. Thank you so much for listening.